Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast once again. Where today, sitting in with me is Peter Summit. Peter is the frontman for the Las Vegas-based hard rock alternative band Crashing Wayward. Crashing Wayward, one of the first bands to be part of Ron Keel's RFK Media label, and they have a full-length debut album on that label called Listen. The band has just released their latest single from the record. It's along with a video. It's called Stranger Days. And vocalist Peter Summit here to tell us all about it. Peter, it's great to have you, man.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I know I've heard Ron. Loves you guys. It's first, he's got the new label. He wants Crashing Wayward, and it was a lot of that was based on this latest single, Stranger Days. He heard Stranger Days, and it was one of the best things he's heard in years. He just loved that song in particular, and everything you do, but that song really struck him. And it's, now the album's been out for a little while, and we're just getting around to that as a single. Why did we see it delay to release this particular song? It hit so hard for him. Why wasn't that the first single?
Yeah, that's a very good, valid question for sure. But I guess the best response would be I think there's 11 songs on this album that deserve, an individual release.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. And being a rock band, modern, hard rock, alternative, whatever, we're a rock band. But the first thing that, I think we got to kind of, state our claim as to what we are as a rock band. So initially the first release is going to be something that hits a little bit harder, that was a tough choice. Prior to RFK Media signing with RFK, we released Breathe and Disco Kills. So when we signed with RFK, we re-released Breathe to kind of give it a reintroduction to everybody that's kind of familiar with RFK, that first kind of taste of who we are. But we wanted to follow up with another hard hitter, which we truly believed in, which was Closer.
Right.
But that was a tough choice too, because there's Mouth to God's Ear, Death on Holiday. I think there's some big hard hitters in there. So we wanted to come out and hit hard, and Stranger Days, I think, was something that we wanted to kind of, marinate a little bit, I guess,
Yeah.
Don't want to come out with everything all at once,
Right.
Slow burn into
Yeah.
the release.
And I think Stranger Days shows the stretch of the band, the what you can do in many different ways. The elasticity, if you will, of this band, where it's not just focused in one particular direction. That this song in particular does many things. It is a rock song, but it's got a lot of melody. It's power ballad-ish, if you will. So yeah, it takes you in a lot of different directions as a listener, and it probably did as a band as well, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a very personal, lyrically and melodically, something very personal for me. And yeah, I like using that term power ballad. I feel like sometimes it gets used in a derogatory way,
Yeah, yeah. And I don't
but
know.
it is what it is,
It is. And
Yeah.
I think the great power ballads stand the test of time too.
Yeah.
We still hear them on the radio, all those classic ones. They stick around. People relate to them, and this is one of those kinds of songs for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Now it's released as a digital 45, which took me back, I'm old
Yeah.
school, I had 45s growing up.
Right.
This, it has a side A and a side B. The unplugged version on side A which is, a really, it really highlights your talents as a vocalist. It
Oh, thank
just, the whole record does, of course, but bringing the instrumentation down and having that vocal so up front, really, really just so powerful. Really great performance there.
you.
The B side, interesting. The Snakes of Russia mix. Um, People are going to see that. That's it sounds like a video game almost or something. That has to do with Joseph Holiday. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Yeah. So going back just a little bit, the Digital 45. So Stranger Days as a single is still it's released on the Listen album. So this Digital 45 is that unplugged version and the Snakes of Russia version. I do want to give David Harris a big shout out for taking initiative and creating that unplugged. He did the piano work and the acoustic on that. So he
Awesome.
took the reins on that and allowing me to be, showcase me a bit more like
Totally.
to what you're saying. Yeah. But the Snakes of Russia, very interesting mix indeed. It's very so Carl brought that through his relationship with Joseph. Joseph Holiday and I go back a long ways in previous bands that I was in. But Carl knew Joseph and knew what he was doing, with Snakes of Russia, which is his kind of death beats, kind of almost, goth electronica kind of thing, which is something everybody in this band is really kind of about and into, especially me. I was kind of raised on that with my brother being post-punk and goth and, the Cult and stuff like that,
Yep.
early the Cult. Sorry, my cat's like trying to jump on me right now.
Oh, I have that. I'll have the same thing. Don't worry.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, we wanted to do something that totally like you have on the Digital 45, you have the unplugged, which is kind of like this angelic angel on your shoulder. And then the Snakes of Russia, which is a little bit more dark and ambient version of that. It kind of gives this darkness to it, which the song is like very versatile in which way it can go, going back to that kind of power ballad. Can we make it light and beautiful? Can we make it, dark and ambient? And that's kind of like how we felt about this. Let's show it's, it's a very, multifaceted song. So let's show some of those edges and different sides.
That is a great idea. I mean, that concept is perfect for this song, because it does do that. It can be that top of the mountain, see the light, beautiful, bright thing, but it can also be, that dark, spooky, mysterious, intriguing thing,
Yeah.
which, that Snakes of Russia thing has that feel. It's great to go on a journey with this one song.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
you mentioned some of those old bands, and it's funny you mentioned the Cult because I explored your career a little bit. Daredevil Jane, Victoria
Oh,
Project,
okay. Yeah.
um, and the stuff that's as Peter Summit. I get real Ian Astbury vibes from that,
Yeah.
but you do a lot of different things too. I hear some Stone Temple Pilots vibes, and a lot of different things. You have many different directions within the band. Stacy being, part of l.a.guns for a long time. Sean working with Ron on his stuff, which is quite different. Was it difficult to bring all of those kinds of influences and past band things that you've all done and get them channeled in the same direction in the Crashing Wayward format, if you will?
Yeah. I think now as we're moving forward and we have continued writing, we haven't stopped and we're actually writing some pretty incredible stuff, which I think is going to surpass what we've done with Listen. Honestly, that's how I'm kind of feeling about it. It's yeah.
Wow.
So really excited about where we're going. And with that, we're kind of really fine tuning what our sound is. And
Mhm.
where Listen was, it was, it started as we started a band, and five guys with five different backgrounds kind of gave their own ideas and inputs, and it worked. And within
A
that,
miracle.
yeah.
I mean,
And
it sounds
I've
like
been
it could
in,
go south very quickly,
right.
but it
Yeah.
worked for you guys. Yeah.
And it worked. Going back to some of my previous bands, trying to get guys to write songs and to do it well is no easy feat
No,
at all.
no.
You
Especially if
know,
everybody's going in a different kind of direction. I want to go heavy. I want to do some country-ish. I want
right,
to do alternative. And you have that kind of thing where all you guys have done all of those things, but this is Crashing Wayward. It's,
right.
you may hear some of that stuff in here, but it's really got its own sound, which
It
is,
does, yeah, yeah.
it's cool.
That's, it's kind of we're not afraid to try something to see what works,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of like with some of the songs that are on Listen, and Velvet's Drawn, Tilly had, Velvet's Drawn is another, kind of ballad,
Hmm.
so we're not afraid to do ballads, and Tilly, that has kind of like a little bit more of a southern, almost like country kind of vibe to
Yeah.
it. And you stated Stone Temple Pilots, which, one of my favorite bands of all time, and they weren't afraid to touch anything. Scott Weiland, great lyricist, great vocalist, great frontman, and they would touch on anything. They weren't afraid of any genre.
Yeah.
And I think the most successful and best rock bands can implement different genres and different sounds into their stuff and execute it well.
Yeah.
And I feel fortunate with these guys that they allow me to be who I am vocally and write what I want to write and have the melody and kind of, the direction I want to take some of the songs, because they're all very capable of writing lyrics or melody to some of the songs that they present me. They're presenting the music to me, and
Right.
they allow me to do me and write what I'm feeling into what I am trying to, say and sound like.
Yeah.
And they're open to that, which is, that's just like a formula for success. And,
Totally. Totally. Well,
and there's no resentment, right? So
right, right, right.
like, you wrote this and that, you don't trust me. And
Right, right. And that's you get that in bands, and a lot of that is understandable. I mean, it's you all want to express yourselves in many different ways, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. You pass it on. But that's a sign of a pro band. This is a bunch of professionals who, have trust in the people they surround themselves with. It's really a wonderful thing, and that's, success draws from that for sure. Uh,
yeah.
it's cool. It's cool. Um, yeah, is it a new record? I know you're writing. Do you, is that the next step here? Are you still, because there's a lot left on this record.
Yeah.
You know, uh, but it is a few years now. And you have more things that you're excited about. What's the next step in release?
Well, we do have a couple of tracks that are going to be coming out that actually were songs that were withheld from Listen. They were the last two tracks. So we wanted to do 11 songs, and they were the last two that, were not mixed yet. So we decided to, okay, let's put these 11 out. Instead of doing, we could have done 13, we could have waited for the first, the last two. But we held off. We wanted to really keep it to 11 songs, keep it at that, under 35-minute mark, and
Nice.
11, which is I got 11 right here, which is a very spiritual, strong number,
No.
meaningful number to us all. And so that was important. So we do have two songs that were held off from the album Listen, which will be coming out. I don't have a date for those yet, but those two from Listen will be coming out. And yeah, there's stuff off of Listen I would love to I would love to make, like I was saying, to release every single one. Mouth to God's Ear, I feel deserves its own
Mhm.
video. Tilly, another one. Tilly has been kind of I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised. But that song has resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
and
yeah.
so, yeah, I would love to see a video for that come out. So I think we're going to put out visual videos and lyric videos for everything on
Okay.
Listen. And then we
Cool.
have the two new tracks, In Bed with My Head and Dreaming in Tangerine, which will be coming out from
Great
the Listen.
titles.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
wow. I
yeah.
Man, if that doesn't want to make you hear it, man, just the
Yeah.
title. Wow, great
I'm
titles.
excited for In Bed with My Head because that is like I really don't like putting the idea or description of what it sounds like or but it reminds you of Guns N' Roses Perfect Crime meets like Nirvana just breaking all their instruments on stage. So
Wow.
it's a very like in your face, just hard hitter. It's like 2 minutes and 15 seconds of just
Wow.
yeah.
Very cool.
So I'm excited for that to come out, and the mix on that is really good. We worked with Mike Gillies on getting that just right.
I was going to ask
Uh,
you about Mike. Mike Gillies, a lot of work with Metallica, of course. So much work. Brilliant guy. He produced the record. Um, you're continuing to work with him on the newer material?
yeah, so we have In Bed with My Head with that Mike has done. We also did a cover song of Post Malone's Circles, which we recorded, produced, mixed, and engineered was Mike. That is a very cool and different interpretation of that song. We kind of wear our genres, our influences on our sleeves. And this one is a very U2 like Joshua Tree. And I know
Wow.
some people are like, oh, U2, like you love them or hate them, but
Yeah.
I love U2 and especially Joshua Tree,
Oh,
you know,
oh yeah.
Octave Baby. I mean, U2, let's get it straight, okay? They're a rock band, all right?
They are.
So
They are. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I saw them on that zoo tour, and they were
yeah.
impressive.
Oh, I bet.
Really, really great. So yeah, yeah, and they're still doing it. So yeah,
Absolutely.
not a bad band to to sound like for sure.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about Listen. Let's talk about the cover. There's a beautiful young lady on the cover. You happen to know her?
My daughter, yeah.
It is.
It is my daughter, yes.
How'd
And
she
that,
land? How'd she land that gig?
yeah, well, we were stuck in the same house during COVID. And, so we decided to take some photos that was from the Breathe session. So when we first released Breathe on our own in 21, we did a photo shoot and that was kind of like left over from that. And it was something that was just very powerful, and we kept coming back to it. We started working on some different album art ideas, and that photo came back. And it was one of those photos it was very touchy because, some people look at it and go, oh, like it is a very powerful image.
Yes.
But it is something it's been done before. We didn't invent tape over the mouth and this and that, but it was conveying a message,
Yeah.
and what we really want people to do. And the advice that I give my kids is you got to listen, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yep.
That's
And
the best advice I can give you.
and
So
the name of the name of the album. Listen. Don't talk so much. Listen.
yes,
Yes. And I love the cover. By the way, I
thank
think
you.
it's brilliant. And the black and white kind of thing is perfect. But yes, I could see where in the wrong context, this could go very wrong, the message.
Right. Yeah.
You know, uh, is this something your daughter does? Is she a model? Does she?
She does model, yeah. So
Okay.
she's pursuing that. Yeah. She
Okay.
is currently pursuing that. She is in California now, living her best life, pursuing it, and
Bravo. That's great. That's great. And there's something about it. You could she just pulls that off. I don't think, it's just a face shot with a tape over the mouth, but somebody
yeah,
who doesn't do it, it just might not look as convincing. It's a
right.
really powerful. She makes it powerful with the eyes that the blank stare is it just it's pro on
Yeah,
her part too. Yeah, really, really great image for
thank
sure.
you.
Um, the writing process, they give you music, you write lyrics. Is that kind of how it goes for just about everything?
Yeah, just about every song has been that.
Right.
And yeah, going back to Breathe was something that Carl was sitting on for about 10 years, and he kind of presented to a couple of different projects and nobody could do anything with it. So when he gave that to me, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I can to impress this guy and make this song work.
It's cool.
And of course, we demo it and it's gone through its reiterations and it's been produced and everything. But
Right.
the fact that we, you know, made something work for something that's relevant. It's
Yeah.
10 years old, but it sounds like, I
It's
don't think you
current.
can date stamp that song. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very
Um,
current. Yeah.
yeah. But the guys, yeah, they send me music and they allow me to do my thing.
It's
Um, yeah, and sometimes I'm getting like 3 songs a week,
wow.
I got to like kind of like pick and choose. Dave and I have been working feverishly right now and kind of just been once one song or 2 songs a week we're kind of like throwing back and forth to each other.
Man.
Stacy's coming up with some really good stuff right now as well too. And I just want to try to do my best lyrically, melodically, um, to make them proud, and kind of make those songs come to life. It's a group effort, right?
Uh,
So
that's just awesome, and it's just the seeds of success for sure.
yeah.
Um, is there a specific place or like a time of day even that you become more productive or you do your best work? Do you find a place in the house and go there and do your thing, or is it, can you write lyrics with your headphones on a bus? You know, uh, is there a specific place that you like to be most productive?
Yes, that place is in my head. And I live in my head. Oh man, my wife, I feel sorry for my wife. We work together and we work out of our house. We do have a clothing fashion. We work in fashion as well. So that's my, day job
Awesome.
aside from music, which is my other day job because I'm working on music every day. But you know, we'll be in the same house and she's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm right here." But she knows when I'm in my head. So,
Here, but not really here.
yeah. So lyrics just come. You know, I used to get very depressed if they weren't coming quick enough. What am I trying to say? What's the melody? I got to have a different melody, and if I wasn't finding it immediately, I would get depressed. Where now I've kind of like I can get depressed if it's not coming quick enough. That's just been my nature. I've kind of battled with depression my entire life to be fully transparent. But now I know that if I give it time, it's going to present itself, you know, and
Yeah.
I can't rush the song. Sometimes their song lyrically is there. There's a song that I'm working on with Dave right now that he just sent me 3 days ago, and within about 2 hours, I had half of the lyrics and melody written, and now I'm just kind of like fine tuning, you know. And then sometimes it'll take me weeks, and I'm just like, please be patient with me. I really want to, say something good here or come up with the right melody, and then you also got to kind of come, it's like finding something that's relatable to most people, right?
Right.
And how it's going to hit. So there's a lot of factors go into the lyrics and the melody. I carry my phone now. I used to write everything, but now because I have my phone, I'm able to edit in real time, you know.
Crazy. It's so cool.
Yeah. Totally. But it's funny because yesterday I'm thinking, I should go back to writing on pen and paper, it was a beautiful thing,
Uh,
so I kind of miss that.
yeah, and I was going to say that can be inspiring in itself. The way you do it.
Right.
Writing with a pen could inspire something else. That
Totally.
the phone wouldn't. Yeah,
Right.
it's a process. Yeah, for sure. And you are obviously great at it.
Thank you.
It's these are great songs all around. Let's talk about some of the ink.
Yeah.
We saw the 11. There it's obvious. I see pictures. You're covered. You have a lot of ink. It's important to you, obviously. What was your first?
My first would probably be, well, what was my first? It's been so long. My first I had a was my astrological sign, which is Aries, the ram, and I was a year of the dragon. So I had, you know, the
How cool
dragon
is
and
that?
ram battling it out. So that was my first. But
That's cool.
yeah, but it's funny if I had my way, I would probably have some tribal sun around my belly button. That's like Dennis Rodman, because back
Right.
in, mid late 90s, that was all the rage, right? You had to have a tribal and
Yep.
around the belly button.
Yep.
Uh, uh, you know, if anybody has that, you know, sorry, I'm glad I don't have that, but I didn't follow through with that one. But my advice is always, to that point, my advice is to anybody that's getting a tattoo, at least wait as long as you can, 23, 22, 25,
Yeah.
because I don't know. I mean, tattoos tell a story, right? So if you get a stupid tattoo, you got a stupid tattoo. I got a
Yeah.
stupid tattoo.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it does tell a story, and
Yeah.
and when you have them to the length, and the extent that you have them, um, I would imagine it's a lot of your life. Is there a piece that means the most to you?
Well, I really tried to do every piece, that does mean something to me. I mean, that was, the intention initially. You always want to have some deep meaning
Right.
to every single piece. The ones, my daughter's tattoo, their names on me, of course, are going to be my favorite and most important.
Yeah.
I've put my favorite cat on me. On my hands, I have, one of my favorite artists, Alphonse Mucha, which is the
Mm,
Art Nouveau artist. So,
yeah.
stuff like that, little symbols, element signs of life, my kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, so I got Bad on my ribs. So,
I love
uh,
it.
yeah, just I tried to put a lot of thought into it and something I wouldn't regret. And I think it's funny because uh I've always had this when I first started getting tattooed, it wasn't a normal thing, right? So I would get some looks like, wow, stay with this guy must be,
He's
you
gonna
know,
kill us all.
yeah, he's a serial killer or something. Now it's very acceptable. Now I can walk down the street and I got my dangling earrings and I got tattoos, and little old women are just like, "How are you?"
Right, right.
And
Yeah,
they
well,
want to, have a conversation.
there are young girls that have more than you have.
Yeah, oh yeah, people
And
are
that
starting on their face,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's not for me, and I'm not one to judge, but I love the art. I was an art major in school. It's a wonderful, like I say, a snapshot of who you are and your expression and artistic expression. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
And I'm a photographer, so I specialize in concert photography too, and man, I hope to God I can shoot you someday on the stage. It's just a great,
yeah,
it's a great look. It's just so rock and roll too. And it's beautiful art as well, of course. So yeah, it's all part of the Crashing Wayward package, you know.
It is, yeah, yeah.
And everybody has a different look too. I noticed that. You guys have different influences, you have different backgrounds, but there's a different look too. Stacy's very, the LA Guns thing a little bit. But Sean is, he's a pretty, mellow, regular kind of guy, with his look, and David as
Pretty
well.
vanilla. Pretty
You know,
vanilla. Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah, but it's not vanilla when it's
Yeah,
in this context. You
yeah.
know, it's actually the standout. It's a little bit, wow, that's the
It's
square peg in
almost
the round hole,
kind of like a Cheap Trick, right?
Right, right. What was Bunny Carlos doing there?
Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
a mysterious. It's a wonderful image. It really is. It's all part of the great package that Crashing Wayward is. Fantastic. Are you guys taking it on the road? Will that be something that you guys are putting together right now, or something in the future? How's that going to work for you?
Yeah, we do have two confirmed dates. So we'll be in Milwaukee for Summerfest on June 22nd.
Yep.
So really excited about that. I believe we're routing something around that as well too. So hopefully, we'll have more dates for May and
Yeah.
June. Possibly seeing us overseas. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
So getting into Asia and into Europe, which I think we can do very well over there.
Yeah.
And then we're in September. Actually, we're playing with Ron in September. Gosh, what's the date? I don't have it in front of me right now.
I
But
don't either. Shame on
yeah,
me. But I did. It is a September date. I have
it
September
is September. Yeah,
down. Yeah, and that's cool too.
yeah,
To be there with the boss. He's just he's a special guy.
yeah.
He's near and dear to me, good friend. Ron's great. Just a great guy to be involved with. There's he's a pro. He's honest. Always has been. I love seeing him nurture and get the word out about new bands like yourself. Uh,
Right. Yeah,
it's,
absolutely.
it's a great guy to be next to in the trenches for sure.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, yeah. Don't forget Chicago. Somewhere
Oh,
around here.
yeah, absolutely.
Milwaukee's not that far.
Yeah,
Summerfest is a fun thing. It's crazy. They so I remember Summerfest a long time ago. It was one or two stages. Now there's like six stages or something. It's a crazy thing, and then a bunch of great bands, and it'll be good fun for you.
yeah, that'd be great. Our manager is actually out of Chicago as well too. So hopefully we're going to be passing through there very soon. So,
Very
and if we do, you have to take those, come out and do some photos.
That would be great. That would be
Yeah,
great. I look so forward to it, man.
yeah.
Peter, it's been great, man. Let's do it again.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. Yeah, I appreciate your time. Crashingwayward.com for all things Crashing Wayward. Peter, it's great, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, see ya. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.